What the world is experiencing today is unlike any other period in history. Prepare accordingly. You came here for the truth. Today I've got big topics. In fact, very, very big. The first thing I want to look at is the uncertainty and volatility that we are seeing right now in the markets as well as the economy. The second thing is the millions of people that are suffering today. The hardship is getting worse and worse. And the third is, in fact, that cats are lying to you. I'm not kidding. You stick around. We'll talk about that and so much more. Let's begin. All right, so let's dig in. Market is now crazier than the dot-com era, according to Charlie Munger. Say what you want about the guy. He's 97 years old. Quite frankly, he doesn't care what people think. And he's saying right now, not that there weren't some companies that were valued at some lofty levels. No, he's saying on average, things are crazier. And you could measure that by any sort of metric, and it will show you this today. That doesn't mean it's going to come down tomorrow. That doesn't mean that it's going to change in an instant, but it just highlights where we are at. Specifically right now, as I record this video, you can see the cross asset volatility measured by various things. Maybe the VIX, maybe the MOVE index, and so on, all looking at different measures of volatilities of different asset classes, and they are all up. If I look at the markets themselves, these are the four major US indexes, and you could look at what has happened here, coming well off the highs, but of course the trend is clearly there. If we break it down a little bit further, looking at the SPY or the S&P 500 essentially, you're just seeing on the left-hand side, that's the daily, and of course, it has been relatively strong. When you see these type of things, like I have shown previously, number one, we are looking at oversold on the stock RSI. It went down quite far on the RSI, and as well, we saw it hit the bottom Bollinger Band. I talk about this extensively over the past little while. The market ebbs and flows. Think about the Bollinger Bands. For those who aren't aware of this purple line up here and the purple line that's being covered right here by the bars, think of that like the oxygenated environment for the stock, okay? And if it goes outside of that, it can't breathe. So it finds its way back up into it. That's always the way it goes. Now, just like a fish out of water, it can jump out, okay? It can do that, but it has to come back down. Like a person, they can go down into the water, but they've got to come out at some point if they want to survive. So the point here is that this happens all the time. I've been highlighting it and just showing you what's happening. And of course, there's always going to be ups and downs. Who's buying though? Who is buying this dip? Well, let's be honest about it. It's the retail traders. It's the retail traders right now. You can see that green line right there, the green arrow, essentially highlighting a huge spike. One of the biggest buys from retail traders ever. Taking it at this time because every single dip always brings the retail traders in. The average NASDAQ 100 stock is down 17%. The spread between the average stock and the index is now wider than the peak in the year 2000. These are extremes and it's not good. You had the entire market. Everything was in the red a couple days ago, except for Apple. And why? Well, Apple is a good company, and well, yeah, that's because. It doesn't make sense sometimes, but that's the way it goes. But you also have to remember that Apple's part of every company's ESG. They have all these different funds, and many, in fact, are just labeling existing funds ESG and then getting away with it. And what's the number one stock in there? It's Apple. Looking at oil, you could see that while it is up as I record this video, it is down significantly off its peak. It is at approximately $67 a barrel for the WTI. It just shows you how fast things can move. OPEC is saying we're going to pump out some more. The The situation is clearly different than it was before, just a little while ago, but the prices for individuals, they are still up, the prices that people pay. Gas traders worry prices could plunge after a volatile winter. That's right. But for you, that would be good. We'll see what happens, okay? Nord Stream 2 and China demand are among the questions for 2022. We need to get that Nord Stream 2 really out there and prepared for everybody to utilize, because Europe is paying a hefty price right now for energy. Export plants come online just as companies chase clean energy. So, of course, we will see. There's a lot of coverage going on right now. You can see this particular, just showing you this. I've shown you this chart many times before. Russian gas shipments to Europe remain below last year's levels. Hopefully this will increase for the people of Europe so that they can pay less, because that's all that matters. Does all this mumbo jumbo of Bollinger Bands and all this that I'm talking about today really matter? No. What matters is you. Maybe that's what you pay at the pump. Maybe that's what you're paying for your electricity bills. Maybe it's your portfolio or your 401k, your retirement account, and so on. That's what I am after for you. Let's take the data, let's funnel it down, and let's provide it to you. If you agree with that message, hit the thumbs up button. It's right down there, and support the channel. Okay, inflation is a matter of demand. By the way, Janet Yellen, quote, "Inflation is a matter of demand, and certainly is true that the American Rescue Plan put money in people's pockets, helped them to meet expenses they had, and contributed to strong demand in the US economy." Great, right? Let's get people some cash. Let's give people what they need. However, Janet Yellen admits something, but if you look at the amount of inflation that we have and its causes, the stimulus bill is at most a small contributor. It's enabled their spending, but the fact that spending has been so focused on goods as opposed to services has contributed massively to the supply chain problems. Yes, deflect it, but still admit. Quickly, let's go. Inflation is causing hardship for 45% of US households. At the bottom here, they are saying that 10% describe the hardship as threatening their current standard of living. I think it's important for everybody to get prepared. What can you do today? Let's talk about a few things right now. Number one, if you are living alone and you don't need to be, this might be something that you can do, where you can find a roommate. You can figure out a way to get by in a small place. Maybe you don't need to live in that big house. Maybe you can figure out a way to make ends meet, to figure this out temporarily as well as the medium and long term. A lot of people are simply overextending themselves today, and that's an extra burden that we don't need. At the same time, what about your food situation? What about your energy situation? Are you negotiating the terms of your energy bills with your providers? You must be doing this, okay? Maybe you can get into a contract over the long term and get those energy prices at the price you want. There's also time of use as well as tiered structure. The way that you pay your energy may not be the most efficient way. So look into that. Food bills. Do you have a garden? Do you have some sort of, what means of getting food? Bags of rice, pasta, things that store beans, lentils, things that store for long periods of time that you could buy today to secure those prices. Okay, I could talk forever on that. I'm just ranting, of course, but I think it's important for people to understand the details. And then hedge fund founder Ray Dalio predicts there is a 30% chance of a U.S. civil war in the next 10 years because of emotional political polarization, believes that the Constitution may save the nation. If you have an opinion about Ray Dalio, I think you should hold it off until you read the book or listen to the audiobook, Principles. Okay, I think it's important. I've said it many times before on the live especially, but check out the Principles book, really, because it gives you insight as to how he's structuring the decisions, not today, but over the years, and really using logic in like a programming way. A guy who, you can look at certain actions and see what he's done and see what he said, and sure, but read the book. Just read the book. Just read the book. You know, it wasn't my favorite book, by the way, but it gave me insight into Ray Dalio and the way that he thinks, and it helps me. It really does. Long-term ocean freight rates are soaring. This continues to be a problem. You know, we could talk about this all day, but essentially there's a lot of demand. You got the restrictions, you've got the trouble of getting stuff out of the ports, all of that. But nothing, in my opinion, nothing is more important than kittens. This is one important subject, that's for sure. But I wanted to admit something right now to all my subscribers. If you're still here in this part of the video, I want to thank you. I give you a thumbs up. But those kittens, the kitten GPS, I'm afraid to admit, they've been lying to you. Videos and GIFs of cute animals, usually cats, have gone viral for almost as long as the internet has been around. But now this trick for building audiences is being used by people and organizations peddling misinformation, according to researchers. Those cute cats online, they help spread misinformation. And that's right. If you look at cats, if you look at pictures of kittens, you are part of the problem. That's right. All right. I'm just playing around here. Of course, there's more to that article, obviously, but I just want to throw that in at the end. Try to bring a little humor. Try to make this a little bit lighthearted when I can. If you appreciate the channel and you support this, simply hit that thumbs up button. It's right down there. When you do so, you're basically notifying all those people out there who aren't aware of the Money GPS, and they will get this video in their recommended. So I do appreciate that very much. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that little bell. And if you haven't seen this video yet, you definitely want to check it out. So just click it and I'll see you there.